Okay, today we'll be doing 9-3 multiplying binomials. Example 1 is using the distributive property. So there are going to be two methods. I'll show you both, and you can use whichever method you find the easiest. So using the distributive property is always like we do the distributive property. We take 2x times x, which gives us 2x squared because we add the exponents, 2x times 4, which is positive 8x. And then we distribute the second term. 3 times x is positive 3x. 3 times 4 is positive 12. We're not done if we have like terms to combine. So you always have to combine your like terms. So I end up with 2x squared plus 11x plus 12. So that's using the distributive property where you take each of the first terms distributed to each of the terms in the second polynomial. Example 2 is using the FOIL method. So FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, last. So what you do is you multiply the first ones. So 2x times x, because those are in the first. Let me highlight these, that'll be easier. We have 2x times x. Those are your first terms in each one. So 2x times x is 2x squared. Then you multiply the outside ones, which gives you 8x. The inside ones then give you 3x, and you combine those, so 3x plus 8x is 11x, and then you multiply the last two. So our last two terms in each part here are 3 times 4, and 3 times 4 gives you 12. So if you notice, our answer is the same on both of these. Either method works the same. And usually when I do it, I always use the FOIL method because that's how I was taught. If we go ahead and we look at example number, well, first of all, if you notice down below here, it says in this chapter, if you're multiplying binomials, which we were just doing, you can use either method no matter what the directions say. So the book is going to tell you, use the distributive method for 1 through 10, and then use the FOIL method for whatever. I'm saying use the one that's easiest for you so that you can get the correct answer. So no matter what the directions say, if you have to get the product, you can either use the distributive property or the FOIL method. Example number 3 then is applying the multiplication of polynomials. So if we look here, it says find an expression for the area of the shaded region. I have two rectangles here. I have the large rectangle and then I have the small rectangle. And I only want the shaded area, so I'm going to subtract them to take out the white part. So I have the large rectangle. So I have 2x plus 5 times 3x plus 1. And for the small one, I have x times x plus 2. So I need to go ahead and calculate those products. So first, 2x times 3x is 6x squared. The outside ones, 2x times 1 is 2x. The inside ones, 5 times 3x is 15x. That gives me 17x. And the last one's multiplied, 5 times 1 gives me 5. So there I used the FOIL method. For my small one, I'm going to use the distributive method. So we have x times x, which is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. So there's their individual areas, and now I need to go ahead and subtract them. So I always write them vertically when I'm going to subtract them, and I line up their like terms. So I'm going to subtract x squared plus 2x. Sorry about that. So now we have 6x squared minus 1x squared, which is 5x squared. 17x minus 2x is 15x. 5 minus 0 is 5. So the area of the shaded region is 5x squared plus 15x plus 5. Example number 4 then is multiplying a trinomial and a binomial. So a trinomial has 3 terms where a binomial only has 2. So there is a vertical method and a horizontal method, and I will show you both. The vertical method, the thing you need to realize is that you put the one with the most terms on top. So in this case, you would always put the trinomial on top. So I'm going to write that on top. So we have 4x squared plus x minus 6. And we're taking that times 2x minus 3. So you just multiply the first term through here. So negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18. Negative 3 times positive x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times 4x squared is negative 12x squared. And now we multiply the next one through. 2x times negative 6, and I'm going to write them so like terms are underneath each other. So negative 12x. 2x times x is 2x squared. And 2x times 4x squared is 8x cubed. And now, just like when we do our multiplication before, we're going to add them. The only difference is now you can only add your like terms. So there's 18. We have a negative 15x and negative 10x squared and 8x cubed. So if I write that here at the bottom, we have 8x cubed minus 10x squared minus 15x plus 18. And that is our answer because we can't combine anything else because there's no other like term. The horizontal method is simply to leave it like it is written and you multiply it through and then you combine like terms. So we'd use our distributive property essentially. So 4x squared times 2x is 8x cubed. 4x squared times negative 3 is negative 12x squared. Now we're going to take the second term through. X times 2x is positive 2x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. And now we're going to take the third term through. Negative 6 times 2x is negative 12x. Negative 6 times negative 3 is positive 18. And now we combine like terms. So this is the only one with the cube, so it stays 8x cubed. We have negative 12x squared, positive 2x squared. That gives us negative 10x squared when you combine them. Then we have a negative 3x and a negative 12x, which gives me negative 15x. And 18 is the only constant. So if we compare these two answers, they're exactly the same. So you could use whichever method is easiest for you. And again, even though it might tell you in the directions to either use the vertical method or the horizontal method, please just use the one that's easiest for you as long as you get the product. Go ahead and complete the quick checks and look at your schedule to find your assignment that matches with this section.